You're listening to Veronica by Elizabeth Whitehead Jennings.
Chapter 5, Aftermath and Silence, Part 1, Innocence Lost. Days passed. But time didn't feel real. It didn't move slowly or quickly. It just pressed forward, indifferent. Veronica drifted through the hours like a passenger in her own life. Eat, shower, pretend, repeat. At school, she kept her head down, said as little as possible, nodded when spoken to, laughed once, but it felt disconnected, like someone else's voice leaking out of her mouth. Inside her chest was a silence so wide it echoed. Her journal stayed open on her bed like it was waiting for her to come back to herself. She'd sit in front of it with a pen in hand, trying to summon words, but nothing came. Once she wrote a single letter, I. She stared at it for 20 minutes, then crossed it out. Some nights she doodled, spirals, stars, scribbles, anything that didn't require language. If I write it down, I'll have to see it again, she thought. If I see it again, it becomes real. She slammed the journal shut. Christina noticed the change. She wasn't always sober, but she wasn't stupid. Her daughter had stopped wearing yellow. The once bright, sharp girl now moved through the house like a ghost. Black hoodie, dark jeans, no music, no humming in the kitchen, no laughter behind closed doors. There was a weight to Veronica now, a heaviness in the way she walked, sat, even breathed. You okay? Christina asked once over breakfast. Fine. That was all she said. That was all she ever said. Later, Christina brought leftover pasta to Veronica's room in a chipped bowl and stood awkwardly in the doorway. You hungry? Veronica took the bowl and set it down on her nightstand without looking up. Thanks. Christina lingered. You haven't really been yourself lately. Veronica stayed silent. After a long pause, Christina said quietly, almost too quietly, You're starting to look like me. Veronica didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't respond. Christina left the room. Thursday afternoon came with too much light. Veronica met Jeffrey at their usual corner a block from the rec center, just like always. They didn't go to the same school. He went to Glen Ridge Prep, where uniforms were pressed and roomers had bank accounts. But theater club met at the rec center, neutral ground on her side of town. She hadn't wanted to come. She didn't want to talk to him, but staying home was worse. Christina would ask more questions, watch her more closely. Veronica could feel her mother studying her every movement lately, as if trying to read a language she'd forgotten. Too many questions. Too much quiet. So she put on her hoodie and walked. Jeffrey had been waiting, binder tucked under one arm, drink in hand. His smile was easy, familiar, wrong. Hey, he called, falling into step beside her. Okay, so, please don't take this the wrong way, but you've been acting super weird. Veronica didn't answer. Like, I'm not mad or anything, I'm just concerned. You've barely texted. You skipped rehearsal Monday, and you left the party without even saying goodbye. She kept walking. I didn't even see you leave, he added. You should have told me. I would have made sure you got home okay. That made her stop. She turned to him with a strange, small smile. It didn't reach her eyes. You did make it home all right, he said hesitantly. I did, she replied. Then added silently, the damage was done long before I ever left the hotel. Jeffrey furrowed his brow. Okay, seriously, what's going on with you? You tell me, she said, sharper now. You're the one who threw the party. What's that supposed to mean? You were wasted. You had no idea what was happening. People were leaving. People were drinking stuff they didn't bring. And you didn't care. Jeffrey blinked, defensive now. That's not fair. You didn't say a word. You ghosted. That's on you. She stared at him. Her jaw tightened. Right, she said. It's always on me. Before he could respond, she turned and headed for the rec center. But she didn't want to go in. She couldn't sit under bright lights with the theater kids pretending nothing had changed. Not with Jeffrey 5 steps behind her, still watching, still trying to understand something she would never say. She stood outside the glass doors, feeling his eyes on her. "I forgot my binder," she said over her shoulder. "Go on ahead. I'll catch up." Jeffrey hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, I'll save you a seat." He pushed through the doors and disappeared inside. Veronica turned back toward the sidewalk. She couldn't go home yet. Christina would be there, waiting, watching. She might ask again, "How was theater? Who did you talk to? Why are your hands shaking?" Veronica shoved her hands into her hoodie pocket and looked across the street. There it was. The old storefront church. Holy space. Forgotten. Quiet. Half buried behind a pharmacy and a pawn shop. The windows were still grimy. The door sagged on its hinges. A tilted wooden cross hung above it like an afterthought. She walked across without thinking. She was sure the door would be locked. It wasn't. The door creaked open like it had been waiting. The air inside was cold and stale. Dust floated like pollen in thin sunbeams. The floor creaked beneath her sneakers. Rows of folding chairs lined the room, half stacked in the corner like someone started cleaning up and gave up halfway through. A narrow altar sat at the front. The once white cloth had turned a soft yellow. Someone had scrawled graffiti on the wall behind it. The wooden cross leaned sideways against a crate of abandoned hymnals. Everything smelled like time and mildew and old hope. She sat in the back pew, tucked into shadows, where no one would find her. She didn't cry, didn't pray, didn't speak. She just breathed. Her fingers drifted to her hoodie pocket and pulled out a pen. She spotted the open hymnal on the floor near the altar. She wanted to walk toward it, wanted to write something. But her legs wouldn't move. Instead, she opened her palm and clicked the pen once, then again. She looked at the old paint peeling from the ceiling. If I write it down, I'll have to see it again. If I see it again, I'll never be able to forget it. If I speak it aloud, the whole world will change. She clicked the pen again and stared into the silence, and the silence stared back.